3, 2, 1. You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're all having a great week. I've got a review for a new film. So, okay, quick story time. So, I got a screener for Wrath of Man, the new Jason Statham film, and I thought it expired around like 9 p.m. Pacific time because that's what the email said. Unfortunately, I reread it. It just said 9 Pacific time. So I thought 9 p.m. because your movie comes out, midnight Eastern or, a little earlier. Figured it would expire then. Unfortunately, it looks like it expired at 9 a.m. So I didn't have a chance to watch it. So I will have a review for that probably when it comes out on video. But with that said, I have a review, pulled an Audible, and have a review for this film, Shiva Baby, which is written and directed by Emma Seligman, who is a first-time writer and director as far as a film. And, okay. So again, another quick story time. We normally go pretty full spoilers as far as our reviews are concerned. I am really going to attempt to dance around this. So this review will be on the shorter side because, so couple shout outs real quick to Nathan and Alex over at Mission Impossible. We were having a conversation earlier about double features, and one of the ones I threw up was Perks of Being a Wallflower and Lady Bird. I love both those films so much. This is something I would pair with that Chelsea Peretti movie Spinster, which if you listen to our review of it, if you haven't, it's on the channel in the archives. But this was something I need to tell everyone about this film. So again, gonna dance around a lot of it, but here we go. So Rachel Sennot plays Danielle, and the film opens up with her riding this guy, which I went, wow, damn, okay. And he goes ahead and gives her a pile of money. And I gotta be real, the thing that just made me go, oh Christ, dude, really? Danny DeFerrari plays Max in the film, and he goes, well, I'm all about giving money to, women to be independent. And I'm just sitting there going, dude, come on. Like, don't make this, let's call it what it is. You don't need to make this any weirder than this already is. But Danielle goes ahead and leaves and says, oh yeah, I have a thing I need to go to, a brunch, I think is what she calls it. Danielle was in law school. She goes ahead and picks up a phone call from her mom right when she finishes writing Max, and you can tell just from jump that her mom is very overbearing, very much the stereotypical Jewish mother in that sense. And I will say this movie is unapologetically Jewish. As someone who has been to several Jewish soirees in his day, I was laughing just because I went, man, the way they're talking to each other and the way that they're being very gossipy, fucked. It's like I'm back at church. It was amazing. What I love about this film is that, especially for a first-time writer, this dialogue, this movie is basically an Indiana Jones trap in the sense of Danielle is in this situation and you just feel the walls closing in. And again, without spoiling too much, Max ends up at the funeral that she's at, and you go, well, shit, that's already uncomfortable. But then you find out things about Max that further complicate the situation in a way that I was sitting there going, damn, dude, what is your fucking problem? Again, there's so much about this I want to get into, but again, I'm trying to dance around it. So I'm going to start with Danielle. Rachel Sennot, not a lot of acting experience. She does an absolutely incredible job here. Danielle, you can tell she's very much that Daria character in the sense of she's very witty. She has a very dry sense of humor. She really just kind of hates people, which I'll be honest, after this pandemic and seeing how some people can act, who can blame her? People can kind of be shitty, but she also doesn't really have doesn't have a very high opinion of herself. That in large part is because of her parents, who are just busting her chops, it seems like at every turn. Polly Draper plays Debbie, her mom, and you've seen her in things across the board. I recognized her from Side Effect, which if you haven't seen that movie, it's on Netflix. You should watch it. Also in Jenny Slate's Obvious Child, she was really good in there. And her dad, Fred Melamed, who plays Joe, he is someone I've seen in a lot of stuff, and I love this dude. He was in A World with Lake Bell, and I loved him in that movie. But he's definitely a guy you should go ahead, go through some of his stuff if you haven't seen him. He's also on Superstore, and he was a voice on Adventure Time. He's great. But her parents are just incredibly cruel, might be a little harsh, but they're really in her business in a way that I went, well, this is kind of what happens when your parents pay for everything and you're still going to college. Even for that aspect, her parents are really, I think, overstepping in a way that I went, okay, this is actually pretty ugly. There's this whole joke that her mom keeps making about him having Alzheimer's because you never remember where he puts his phone or where he has his keys. I'm sitting there going, wow, that's a really grim joke to be making with your partner. And she makes it multiple times in the film, and you go, damn, okay. I don't know about y'all, but the big thing for me, and it's very much a peeve, especially with parents, is when you feel parents doing the snide comments, the passive aggressive comments. I hate that shit, and I will call that shit out. It drives me nuts. And one of my personal favorite digs that the mom takes is she looks at Danielle and goes, oh my God, you look so pretty with makeup. Which I'm sitting there going, oh, so without makeup, she's apparently a troll. That's all right, cool. Thing about this movie that makes it so brilliant is that it's very much a sitcom setup. Girls in the house, around a bunch of annoying people. Her parents are giving her crap. She runs into her ex. That relationship, I like the way that is explored. That's the one thing I can say. She has this ex that she had in high school that I went, oh, okay, that's a nice little wrinkle. Her ex, played by Molly Gordon, who plays in Maya. And to my knowledge, I believe this is her really first big film. And the thing I really like, I hope that Rachel and Molly work together again, because they had very natural chemistry. And when you find out kind of where the relationship, started and where it kind of ended up, it makes a lot more sense why Danielle is kind of the way she is, because it feels like, and this isn't even a complaint, but I feel like there's another 10 minutes there in the film. They kind of get into it in a way that does work for the film, but I was sitting there going, there's more here that I think you can mine. But Maya is really the person who knows how to, I don't want to say attack Danielle, but kind of break her walls down, and really knows how to kind of get down to what makes her her. And their scenes of dialogue are really quite intense, especially earlier on in the film. There's this great shot of Danielle just trying to get away from everyone, and they kind of do, they show Maya kind of in the background. The shot is blurred, and so when she walks towards her, she starts to come into focus. I thought that was just, again, for a first-time director, is a shot I really went, I fucking love that. That was something I really love. And I will say, if you've listened to the podcast for for a decent amount of time, it takes a lot to make me uncomfortable. I think people get uncomfortable too easily in certain situations, especially when it comes to humor. And this movie had me cringing. I was cringing watching this in a way that I have not cringed in a film in a minute. And not because of how uncomfortable the situation continues to get. It's almost more like a French film or like a French comedy in that sense, where it's almost so absurd that you go, this is almost stretching believability. But I think we can all, think of a time that you get in a situation where you go, you may even say it out loud, how can this get any worse? And then it somehow does. And you go, oh, for fuck's sake. It's great how it just piles and piles. This is one of the best snowball gathering moss films I've seen in a while, because just when you think it can't get worse, it does get worse. That is a skill in itself, which I go, all right, this is kind of amazing. This also has one of my favorite jokes already in 2021. There's this point where her mom, Debbie, tells Danielle that she looks like Gwyneth Paltrow on food stamps, not in a good way. I was mid-sip of my water and I actually spit water out. That joke got me so fucking off guard. Oh, it's so mean in the context that she says it, and you just go, wow, like what is your problem? But I really appreciate the fact that the parents were kind of that insane, because it does make you feel like a lot of us feel when you're in your early 20s and, you know, your parents are like, what are you going to school for? Like, what's your career going to be? What are you doing after college? And I do appreciate the aspect of this film in the sense that Danielle doesn't really know what she wants to do. She's kind of babysitting and has, you know, doing things here and there. And the movie deals with the weight of having people ask you that question over and over and over again of, what are you doing with your life? You know, when are you graduating? Like, hearing that shit over and over again. And Danielle is clearly just fucking over it. And I really appreciate the way the film actually depicts that. Something that you don't really see done that often or portrayed in this aspect. Danielle is basically a poetry major because she even says she's in the gender business. And, you know, her parents kind of go like, well, you can't really make a career. Her dad, I want to say, says, you know, you can't make a career out of being a feminist, which, yikes. That was something I went, oh, fuck. All right. I mean, could be a writer. I mean, that could be a thing, but apparently not. But it's the way this film continues to just get more and more intense. There's a subplot involving her phone that I went, oh no. And it's one of those things that you go, that once they introduce it, you go, oh wow, that's not good. And yet it somehow is worse than you imagine as far as that resolution. Again, without spoiling, there is something that's introduced, and I'll give all of you this. There's something that's introduced in the first 3 minutes of the film that comes back in a way that I went, son of a bitch, well played, film. It just gets so bad at points. There's this one point where Danielle's trying to avoid bumping into someone, not at the funeral, but at the Shiva, and she goes ahead and dings her, like, the side of her leg. She punctures her leg. And so, you know, Maya and her have chemistry. And so there's this point where Danielle just pulls her stockings down. So, you know, you see her legs and everything. And she's wearing a skirt though. And so she ends up in this room. She's kind of bent over with Maya, and Maya is playfully like poking at the puncture. And Danielle's mom looks up and is immediately just mortified because she thinks of Danielle's, as she calls it, her experimentation as a phase. She could never even conceive of the concept of her daughter being truly bi or pansexual or anything besides straight, which is a whole other issue that the film does touch on in a way that I went, all right, I really like this. The way that this film, there's a point straight up where she's having a panic attack, and I was getting Poe vibes. I was getting Telltale Heart vibes, because you hear crying, and the way she's hearing it in her head, it feels like it's driving her to insanity. And it's one of those things I went, oh wow, okay. Like the film, it feels like almost, I don't want to say a horror film, but it's horrible for her, but it weirdly kind of does feel like a horror film in the sense of she is clearly claustrophobic in the sense of all these different variables being thrown at her on this day. It's something that I really was sitting here going, I didn't think that they would touch on A, B, and C, and they found a way to go ahead and make all this work. It's one of these things where it shows how just having great dialogue can carry a film, and I thought the dialogue in this was fucking excellent. This is something I would do a double feature of, probably with Spinster, maybe with Lady Bird. Might even do a triple feature of this, Spinster, and Lady Bird. Like, I just could not believe how much I enjoyed this, and it was a very, very pleasant surprise, which I will say that's one of my favorite things about doing the podcast is, you know, we get the big blockbuster films, you know, you get your Fast and Furious movies, your Marvel films and all that, but it's always so cool to see a film that's a smaller film that I can tell all of you out there, please go out and see this and support this. And I'll tell you right now, I rented this. I will be buying this. I don't see a world where this isn't at worst an honorable mention on my top of for 2021. This was something I went, hell yes, I am so happy this exists. I am so happy I can tell people, hey, go see this shit, because you will be incredibly happy that you did. It's only 77 minutes too. So when I saw the runtime, I kind of scoffed a little bit. Like, how are you going to fit, what are you going to fit into a film in 77 minutes? And yet, my God, it flies by, which I was sad about, because I'm like, wow, I wanted more of this. This could have been a solid 90 minutes. They could have really stretched this out if they wanted to, but hell, if you can make a great film in 77 minutes, more power to you. Better to understay than overstay your welcome. Getting to my final thoughts here, I don't want to mention this other actress who's in it, because you might put a couple things together. So I'll just say that there is another actress who I didn't mention. You'll know her when you see her. And it was really great to see her in this role and where her arc ends up. I was really pleased with. And I will say too, the final 5 minutes or so, the way that everything just kind of comes together, I was so incredibly happy with just where things ended up. This is something I'm gonna be showing to people. I'll have people over and put this on and go, yep, all right, everyone, we're gonna have some booze and watch this shit. Yeah, I was genuinely surprised in the best way with how good this was, and how great this was. And this is something, again, this is on Amazon. I think I paid $4 to rent this. It's worth every penny. I don't know what it is to buy this, but again, this is something I will gladly. Oh yeah, this is $10 to buy. This is well worth $10. Highly recommend everyone go watch it. I don't have any complaints about it. I mean, again, it could have been a little longer, but again, don't overstay your welcome. This is a fan-fucking-tastic. I absolutely adore this movie. So, Shiva Baby, seriously, watch this. It is well worth your time, and you will be so happy that you watched this. But everyone, Shiva Baby, have you seen it? What did you think of it? Let us know in the comments if you have. Go ahead and like both our pages on Facebook, Real Pineapple Games. That's REEL Pineapple Games. I'm going to be hopping on Twitch here in the near future, so go ahead and like that page. Make sure that you're able to find our updates on there. Keep all of y'all updated on when I am going to go live. And you can find our main page on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. Don't forget to follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. Again, that's REEL Pineapple. Don't forget to follow Scott on Twitter at Nearman1st. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Most places you listen to podcasts. So SoundCloud, Apple, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneUp, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We're going to have reviews here soon for Too Fast, Too Furious, and The Fast and the Furious. I'm actually making my way through all the Fast and Furious films, getting ready for Fast 9, the Fast Saga, but I'm really excited to get into that. And we'll have a review up soon here for Nobody as well as our review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm very excited to share that with all of you. But everyone, thank you so much again for listening. Take care of each other. Stay safe out there. Wear a mask. Get your COVID shot so we can all get back outside, and we'll talk to you soon.